Yo, what's up? I got the weird urge to do something useful. So I'm gonna show you 3 cool things you can do with a file called productionconfig.ini. So without further ado, let's go into it. So first you have to find this, file location. So where your My Games Path of Exile or wherever it is. You can also just find it if you're using Windows, just on startup and search for like config or production, and you can probably find it. So it's this file here. So just open it with something like Notepad or something like that, and you will get this. And here's a line: texture quality equals 0. So the first thing. So the highest setting is 0, then 1 would be medium, and so on. The higher the number, the worse the quality goes. So let's put it to 10. Okay. Now we have to restart our game. Get these out of the way. There we go. You can already see this is like a full RuneScape mode. So let's go into the game. See how it looks. Now some people have said that they have had a really good performance improvements from doing this. Some, including GGG, says that it doesn't have any effect, but you know, everyone can come to their own conclusions, of course. I don't use it, but I know some people do. You can just if I were to now change this to high and save, it would go back. But I'm gonna show you that this doesn't actually work on DX11, so I did that. So we go to DX11 now. And then I can show you the other 2 things. Okay, now it's put me. I think I'm at the medium. Yeah. I don't know why my sound always goes to the highest whenever I restart my game. So the next thing I wanna show is attack in place. Now, some of you already know about the numlock trick, probably. If you don't, I'm gonna give the link in the description how to do it. I personally don't like it, and I'm doing a different thing, which is setting my attack in place to left click. So I'm first gonna show you like what it basically does. So as long as I'm holding down left mouse button, skills such as Leap Slam, Shield Charge, Blazewing Totems or Mines, Flame Dash, always take the longest distance, right? So I'm not holding my left mouse button now. If I were to click, I will cast Totem or Flame Dash or even Shield Charge on like many other skills or Mine. Here, you see my character moves into the spot of first, right? So it moved from here to here, because the Flame Dash cannot make the distance, right? Now, if I were to move attack in place, which for me is now move only, it immediately uses the skill to its max distance without needing to move closer to it. Same goes for totems, Shield Charge, and so on. It's very great for mines, because if you're like moving with a mine build, you have your cursor like in front of you, and if you don't have shift or anything down, or whatever is attack in places, your character has to move first to the location where you click in order to place the mine. But if you're having this, move only on your left mouse button and keep it down, it will like land the mine or place the mine right where you are at the time when you do it. So why do we have to do it on the production config? Well, because if I put it on the shift, which is the default, you can't assign it to left mouse button from here. So you actually have to do it in the config. So what we're gonna do is we have to exit the game for the save to saving the file to take effect. We go back to the production config. Also, let's put that back to 0. And here we have attack in place 16, which is shift. I'm not sure, it's probably not the same in every system, but for me it's 16. So I put it into 1. If you don't know what is your left mouse button in the numbers, like the code for it, you can probably just like Google how to like find out what is the code for any of the keys. So I put it in 1, then we save it, and then we launch the PoE again. Oh, this is the wrong client. Okay, there we go. Now when I go back to my options, oops, you see that it's back into left click. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing has to do with the dynamic resolution. Right, so we have, you can have the target frame rate from 5 all the way to 60. So whenever your FPS goes below this, then the game scales down your resolution, right? So for me, it's not doing anything right now because I'm like barely above the 60, right? So I'm just gonna go into like a zone where I can put it down. Right, so as you can see, like I'm like switching between, and it causes like this like really annoying like small freeze, sometimes a bit more than a small freeze. So it's just like very annoying. So you could lower it down to 5, right, or whatever the number is, and now it will never go down below the FPS unless I'm going into very very heavy FPS training situations like Breach with Beyond and whatnot, right? But if you want it to happen all the time, like you can literally have permanent dynamic resolution. I mean, I guess it's not dynamic anymore at that point. So you can have your resolution downscaling without actually doing anything here, right? So again, we go to the production config. So here we are again. And in here, we have to find a line called target frame rate. Oh, this targets FPS. So this is like the minimum. So what we want to do is here, dynamic resolution. So what you want to do is you want to put this into higher numbers. So let's put it to 300. I will never hit 300 in this game, so that's a good example. Let's just put it in 300. Then we have to restart the game again. See, it's on the lower resolution. Even though my FPS. See, it is most of the time above 60. It should be flickering between the non-downscaled and the downscaled resolution, but because of on the settings, I put the dynamic resolution, like target FPS frame rate into 300. As long as I'm not above 300 FPS, it will keep the downscaling. Now, I think there's two different like downscaling. So if you put the target frame rate in the config close to your actual FPS. So let's say that we were actually at a very like static like 70 to 80 FPS. If you then put it to like 90, so that you never actually hit the 90, but you're very close to your actual FPS, it doesn't scale it down as much as it does for me right now. But yeah, so that's a cool trick you can do to always have your resolution scale down. There's another line in the config. I'm not exactly sure what it does, and that is target FPS. So I'm not 100% sure what it does. I tried to change it to a higher number to see what it does, but I didn't see any difference. So it just seems that it's just dynamic resolution. FPS is the number you want to change. Right, and let's put it to... Oh shit, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. Let's put it to 20. Right? Save it. And then restart the game again. I'm not 100% sure if it actually puts my setting to 20, but it should. From the looks of it, it does now because I have the better scaling up here. Yeah, it does. So you can actually change the settings from there as well. But now if I were to just put it back to 60, it would be at 60. Also, if you have it at the higher number and then you do a change here, for example, you take dynamic resolution on, like off, and then put it back on, it will actually reset it, and you would have to go back to the config to change it. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show you. There's probably some other things that you can do in there that I'm not aware of yet, but I was told about the permanent lower resolution in the X11 by a viewer yesterday, so I just wanted to share it. Yeah, and I've been using the left mouse button move only for a long time myself. Left mouse button attack in place for a long time myself. It's very good if you're like leap slamming and you just hold it down. Like I always hold my move only pretty much when I'm playing, so it's very useful. Yeah.